right, welcome to Lunar Flow. Today, we're gonna do some low-key stretching. We have a new moon coming tomorrow. It's the dip in the month. It's the pit. It's the low point of lunar energy. So it's the best time to be reflective. It's the best time to let go of things. It's the best time to detoxify. So we're going to do lots of twisting today. We're going to do lots of slow, long holds to really get you to focus on what you're doing. So begin. Let's begin laying down on our backs. And we'll just put our feet on the floor, have our knees bent so they point upward towards the ceiling. Walk your feet apart so they land on the edges of the mat. Start to work your focus through your body. And find everything that there is to find. Find everything that stands out. And then be willing to kind of excavate a little bit to get underneath the surface, to get to the reason, to the why, to the roots of things. The new moon tomorrow is in the sign of Aquarius, which is the water bearer of the zodiac, which is why a lot of people think that Aquarius is associated with water. It's really an air sign. It's really related to intellect and to information and to theories and concepts. And the symbol of Aquarius, it's a woman with a big vase pouring water out into a river. The waters that pour from the Aquarian urn are not of the wet and soggy variety, but pure, uncontainable ether. The Oxford English Dictionary defines ether as clear sky, upper regions beyond clouds, medium in which electromagnetic waves are transmitted, and ethereal as light, airy, heavenly, of unearthly delicacy. I love that, unearthly delicacy. Aquarius represents all these ideas and more, and is the most mental in every sense of the word of the air signs. With all of this intellect, it is most often the most detached, the most intellectually oriented, and the least emotionally centered. It is a sign that is long on theories, but short on the practical application. They'd rather think about the theories than apply the theories. So, Mom, I know you have Aquarius rising, so that makes this moon particularly relevant for you. But even if you don't have Aquarius anywhere in your chart at all, this can be, we're all met with some of these themes in some way, some shape, some form. Let's bring our right side into a half triple diamond. So wiggle your feet in together, take your left leg out long, and then let your right knee open up to the side of the room. Take your right arm up over your head, making that triple diamond shape on the right side, and just ease on the left side. I want you to notice your right hip and your right shoulder, and just be curious about be curious about your range of motion. Be curious about what these sensations that you're experiencing right now are saying to you. Be curious about the information that is stored in your body. how can this intellectual energy show up in our lives? Well, we can get stuck in the future. We can get stuck 2 steps ahead. We can get stuck theorizing about what to do next, so much so that it removes us from the present moment, that it actually takes us away from reality in a sense. Both of these things are really important, I think. I think thinking ahead is important, but I also think that being with what is real, what is now, is important. If I had to say which one was more important, I think I would lean to the present moment. So it's from the present moment where we can gain information to make new decisions about our future. And Aquarius characters think about the future a lot. They think about improving the future for themselves, for their people, for all of humanity, really. And that can really, we can get really carried away with that. We can get really swept up in that. Let's move this posture to the other side. So we'll take our right leg long, we'll release our right arm down by our side, and then move your left side into the half triple diamond. Left elbow, left knee, both bending out to the left side. Find depth in the present moment. Find a lot of just find yourself here. Go deep right here. I think that can help us to tap into the present instead of thinking sideways or forward in depth. We want to be here in depth. I know my mom was in my yoga class yesterday, so she heard me say this many times. But the point of today, the point of the new moon, is to go deep and not wide. And with Aquarius energy and abundance of it, we want to go wide. We want to spread out. We want to think about all of the possibilities. We want to think about how we can make things better going forward. And that has a time and a place. That's really important stuff. But today and tomorrow, we have to reflect over what already is so we can know how to go forward. That's where the depth comes in. About the information that is stored in your left hip and your left shoulder. If you can just use your imagination and imagine that all of the movements that you make are logged in these joints, like a supercomputer. I don't want to be shocking or anything, but our bodies are like a supercomputer. We do log all sorts of data, physical data, emotional data, mental data. None of that is without repercussion. None of that is without a consequence, a ripple of some kind. So see right now if you can connect with your left side and see what information there is that you can find. I'm always kind of marveling at how much more room there is in my body when I can really let go. And it's hard to do for long amounts of time. But it's possible. It's a good practice. Let's take another inhale and exhale. And then let's take the left leg out long. Let's reach both of our hands over our head. Take a big stretch, big stretch. And then relax with your exhale. Bring a bend into both of your knees. So your feet find the floor. Pick up your hips, put them down over on the right side of the mat. We're going to do banana pose, banana asana. So let's take our left leg out long and move it over towards the left edge of the mat. From there, cross your right ankle over your left ankle and move your upper body to reach to the left. So we have hands and feet both reaching to the left, making a banana shape with the body. I want you to bring your focus to your hips and put both of your sides of your pelvis on the mat. A lot of times in banana, our right side wants to lift up into the air. I want you to soften the pose enough that you can have both sides of your pelvis resting firmly down on the ground. Work your focus up and down your right side. Notice under your arm, your shoulder, your armpit area, and then your rib cage. We have a whole bunch of little muscles that go between our ribs that help us to breathe. They help us to cough. They help us to fight off foreign objects that get inside our body with that cough. See if just by being aware, you can bring a little bit of softness through your ribs on the right side. Sometimes it helps. You can use your left hand to make contact with your body. Sometimes that helps to identify. We don't really live in our bodies very much. At least I don't think my mom and I do. I think that we're a lot in our heads. So it can be harder to feel when certain muscle groups are stuck in a holding pattern. And when that's difficult, when that's challenging to identify, it ripples. It's hard to let it go. And move your awareness down from your ribs to that little space between your rib cage and your pelvis. We have muscles in the backside that attach our rib cage and our pelvis. This is the quadratus lumborum. It helps us to flex our spine from side to side. But when it's tight, when it's locked in place, our back gets tight. So see if you can let this part go. See if you can use no effort at all. Just let these muscles relax, let them lengthen, allow space to make its way into your body. Move your awareness down from that little space to your hips, your outer hip on the right side, your upper thigh, and then see if there's any more that you can reach with your hands over to the left side. Very slowly start to neutralize your spine. Bring your arms down by your sides. Bring a bend back into your knees. Feet find the floor. And then we're going to scooch our hips over to the left side. And we'll start to move into our banana stretch on the other side. So we'll put our right leg out long, heel towards the right side of the mat. And we'll take our arms up over the head and we'll reach over to the right. So hands and feet are both reaching to the right. And take some of this mental energy and use it to contemplate, to analyze, to theorize what this left side of your body is telling you. With the new moon, the sky is really dark. It's really dark out there. There's not very much that is lit up, not very much that is illuminated. And so it's the perfect time to go inside of ourselves and see what's illuminated in there. Our external distractions are incredibly decreased, at least in the symbolic sense. And so with our focus on the inside, and right now it's morning time, so it's very dark out. I want you to use your intellect to ask questions. What happened on this side of the body? What is my left side carrying? What is my left side telling me? And then you can ask more questions than that. This is a really good time to ask questions to God or the creator or the universe, however you like to think of that thing, that presence. Because there's less distractions, because there's less light on the outside, I like to think that this time of the month we can get louder answers. We can connect a little bit more deeply with our creator, with God, with the universe. So as you ask these questions, be open to getting the answers. Scan your body and see if there's any muscles that are actively working. Just relax them. Relax your feet, relax your jaw. My feet were just super flexed for some reason. It's funny how those little holding patterns work their way back in without our permission. This is where that internal depth, that internal excavating can be so helpful. There's nothing like it. There's nothing we can do outside of ourselves that will be the same as going within. Let's very slowly start to bring neutrality back into our spine. So we'll bring our spines back to center on the mat. Bring our hips and shoulders back to a more centered position. And then take your left leg out long. Bring your right knee towards your chest. Take a couple rotations with your right ankle. Either direction. You can take points and flexes as well. My inclination is to go fast. I always feel so fast during Aquarius season. But I want you to slow it down. I like to think of Aquarius like lightning bolts. It's that lightning speed, crackle, fizzle action. Relax your foot. And then move your knee a couple times from side to side. Let's take this into a twist by moving the right knee all the way over towards the left side. You can reach out with your right hand and look over your right fingertips. Bring your right knee back to center. Take your legs out long, stretch out, stretch out. Inhale, reach. Exhale, relax. And pull your left knee towards your chest. Take some slow rotations with your left ankle. Aquarius rules the shins, the calves, and the ankles. That's what parts of the body this energy is associated with. And I thought about it for a while. I was like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Aquarius is all about the head and mental operations, but it's our lower legs, our ankles that connect us to our feet, which connects us to the earth. It's this part of our body that helps us ground our ideas into reality. Let's still the foot and begin to bring motion into the moving the knee from side to side. So it's always our legs, I feel, that are scrambling to keep up with our minds, with our ideas, with our thoughts. And without our shins, without our ankles, it would be a lot harder to keep up with all of that mental energy. Let's move this into a twist. We'll take the left knee over to the right side, reach out through the left fingertips, look off to the left. Another thing that I see in Aquarius is the ability to put mind over matter to the extreme of that skill. To the extreme. So this is when we don't really know what it feels like to be hungry because we eat on a routine. This is when we stay up later than we should working on something. We can't feel that we're tired because we're mentally fixated on what we're doing. And this is a really great skill to have, putting mind over matter. It helps us to move forward. It helps us to accelerate. It helps us to stay the course when we need to. But if that's all we ever do, we miss out on what's happening in our bodies. We miss out on the present moment. And that present we know is so important because it gives us information about how to proceed, about how to move into the future. in a more aligned way, or a more kind way, or a more compassionate way, however you want to proceed. We need the information that is available to us in the present moment in order to know how to proceed. Let's move this left knee back towards center. And we'll take one more big long morning stretch. Heels forward, hands backward. Inhale, reach. And exhale, relax. Let's bring both of our knees into our chest. Take a couple of big circles with the knees moving around the pelvis. Change the direction of your circles. And let's come to neutral. We'll cross our ankles and find your way up to a seated position. Let's bring a cross into our legs. And we'll twist from here. So we'll take our right hand over to the left knee. Lift your chest and spine up really tall and start to look backward over your left shoulder. And let's move back through center and twist the other way. Left hand, right knee. Right hand comes down behind you. Lift your chest, lift your spine, look backward over your right shoulder, reaching for the wall behind you. Let's move our way back through center. Switch the order of your shins. So the back shin comes to the front. We're going to twist again to each side, but this time we're going to focus on twisting the upper spine. So we want our belly button to stay pointing forward. We want our belly button to point directly to 12 o'clock, which is going to change how the twist feels a little bit. So bring your right hand over to your left knee. Be aware of where your belly button is. And then start to twist, hopefully targeting that area behind your heart, kind of up between your shoulder blades. Aquarius is a fixed sign. It's in the fixed family. Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo all share common traits in that they like to hold down the fort. These signs all typically have some lesson to learn around control, because they like to control how things change. They would like to have a say in how it all unfolds versus just letting go and letting things happen. Again, this is one of those things that has a time and a place, but if we're doing it all the time, we're restricting something. Let's move to the other side. So remember, we want our belly button to face forward, and we want that twist to move through our upper spine, behind our heart, between our shoulder blades. So with that theme of control, with that theme of excess mental energy, thinking about the future, thinking about humanity, thinking about inventions and innovations and how to improve the future, that's where they get their rigid flavor from. It's where they get the desire to control and kind of oversee how things happen. I have two people in my mind right now. Richard, my grandma's special friend, and Big Charlie, my boyfriend's stepfather. They both had a lot of Aquarius, and they were always telling people how they could do things better. They're a little bit rigid in that sense. And knowing that about them just helps me giggle about it. Let's come back to center. And let's crawl over our knees. We'll come into a tabletop position. From table, we'll work through some cats and cows. There have been times where I've interacted with both of those men. I really didn't like how the conversation went. I felt like it was too rigid. I felt like they assumed that they were right, and that's what it feels like when you talk to someone that's being overly rigid or overly holding like their power over a situation. But now that I know these things about them, and if I can get myself to remember when I'm interacting with them, well, just Richard now, I can have a little bit more understanding, a little bit more appreciation for that energy, because it is helpful, it is useful. I think it's just a matter of personal preference that I don't want to be around it all the time. So think about how that shows up for you. How are you rigid? How are you controlling? How do you like to tell people that they're wrong and you're right? It can be really sneaky, because we might have really, really good intentions. We might not even realize that we are manhandling a situation, that we're controlling everyone in a situation, because our heart is in the right place. That doesn't always mean that it lands well for the people that are receiving it, though. Let's bring our spine back to neutral, and then tuck your toes under, and let's lift up for a downward facing dog. We'll take a couple petals, really stretch out the back sides of your legs, your ankles, your feet, your calves. Thank these parts of your body for carrying you along, for helping you execute tasks, for helping you act on your ideas. And press down into both of your heels and tiptoe your feet forward towards your hands. Let's take a seat again. We'll bring our hips to the mat, and we'll take our legs out long in front of us. Bring your right foot to the mat so your right knee points upward towards the ceiling, and then cross this foot over your left thigh. We're going to use our left arm to hold on to this right leg while we twist back over the right shoulder, looking back for the wall behind. We should feel some stretching in our outer right hip. And let's rotate our chest back to neutral. We'll bring this foot to the inside of your left thigh, and then take your left hand down towards your ankle. Move your right arm up and over, big reach. Side body stretch. Assess the information that your body is presenting to you. Slowly, let's start to close our chest, bringing both hands down to frame our left leg, folding the chest forward towards your left thigh. Roll your spine back up tall. Place your right hand down under your right shoulder, and then lift your hips up off of the ground, pressing into your right knee. Reach back with your left fingertips. Allow your side body to really open, really stretch. Bring your hips back down to the ground and switch your legs. Take your right leg out, bend your left foot, your left knee, and cross your left foot over the right leg. We're going to use our right arm to hold this left leg close, and then we'll start to lift up and twist back. Again, that pulling of the knee towards the chest should activate a little stretch in your outer hip. Let's unwind. We'll bring our left foot to the inside of our right thigh. Slide your right hand down your leg, and then take your left hand up and over for a big side body stretch. Slowly begin to rotate your chest. So you're moving your chest downward towards your right thigh. Your hands kind of frame your leg. Your shoulders are square to the floor. Bring your spine back up tall. Place your left hand down under your left shoulder. Lift your hips up off of the mat. Reach back for that wall behind you. Big, big, big stretch. And then set your hips back down on the ground. Take both of your legs out long. With an inhale, take your hands up over your head. And then with an exhale, fold your chest forward. Roll your spine back up. So it's neutral. We'll bring our feet together for a cobbler pose. We're gonna hold on to our feet or ankles and slowly start to lower the chest forward. One of my favorite little stories about an Aquarian character that I learned recently. I don't really know very much about Scandinavian mythology, believe it or not. But I learned about the story of Odin, who in the Scandinavian stories, Odin was the smartest of all the gods. He knew everything that there was to know. And the knowledge and information that he had, he wasn't just born with it, he collected it. As he talked with people, he asked people questions and collected information. And I love that story. I think that's so cool. I think that symbolizes astrology very well. I think it personifies Aquarius very well. He was able to use the information and knowledge that he gained from talking to mankind, to the people that are here. He could make better decisions about the future with the information that he learned just from talking, just from communication, from gathering and sharing information. Let's bring the spine back up to a nice tall position. Put your feet out in front of you again, and we'll come back down onto our backside. So lower your spine, lower your head, lower your shoulders. Take your arms into a big field goal post shape. Elbows pointing to the sides of the room and fingertips pointing to the back of the room. And just let your chest open. Our pec muscles, the pec major, attaches at the sternum, the collarbone, and the upper arm. So the way that we sit, the way that we hold our posture, most of us tend to kind of round our shoulders. And these muscles they get stuck in that contracted position. So allow your chest muscles some space to open, some space to let go by really diving in deep to your own body. Let's cross the right ankle over the left knee, reverse pigeon, grab onto the back of your left leg, pull your legs in towards your body. Then we'll move from this reverse pigeon into a twist. And take the arms open, Cross right knee over left knee and set your knees down to the left and turn your head over to the right side. Let's wiggle the knees back towards neutral. And then we'll take the reverse pigeon on the opposite side, left ankle to your right thigh. Draw your legs up and in towards your chest, keeping both of your feet flexed. And take this into a twist. Cross the left leg over the right, drop your knees down to the right, and drop your eyes down to the left. Slowly move your hips back to neutral. Unwind your legs and get yourself ready for a couple moments in a final resting pose. If there's any other shapes you want to put your body into or stretches that you feel like you need, feel free to take them. We'll settle down into Shavasana just for some deep exhales. Let's really focus on that out breath, kind of bring a sense of calm to our nervous system. When we put our mind over matter all the time, our nervous system usually takes the brunt of that force. The way we can communicate directly with our nervous system is through our exhales. Exhales activate the vagus nerve, which is the rest and digest nervous system. Calm yourself down so you can allow yourself to go deep into the present moment for reflection, for recuperation. Let's take one more really dramatic exhale, really long. Begin to move fingers and toes. Maybe take your arms over your head again for another big stretch. Maybe wiggle with your eyes closed. Just find a little bit of movement. And then gradually move your way up to a seated position. Sit up nice and tall. Let your eyes close. Bring your hands together at your heart. Let's pause for a moment of gratitude. Gratitude for our intellect, for our ability to theorize and create ideas. Let's be grateful that there's an infinite amount of new ways to do things. That's really cool. That's really, what a blessing. And then last but not least, let's have some gratitude for the sun that is rising outside, no matter what time you're taking this class. I can just assume that the sun is still there, whether it's in the sky or not. But right now, where I am, it is rising. So let's be grateful for that. With all my love and all my gratitude, namaste. I hope you enjoyed your practice this morning. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.